me with this book like this, you know we're in for a long night. Yeah. I used up all the short ones before this. Well, first of all, this reading has as the center of this reading is hope. Do you hear what I'm saying here? Hope. Now, it mentioned in, just as I finished the reading, it mentioned in there about people will come and say, the end is here, and on and on and on and on. And I remember when we turned to the year 2000, there was people who were upset about that and thinking something's going to happen. Well, I'm going to give you the tools so that you don't have to be afraid ever. Do you hear that? Be afraid ever. Okay. Now, wars and rumors of war. We know that. We know what happens. There's the Ukraine war going on right now, and who knows what's going on behind those. The curtains, the bamboo curtain or the iron curtain, we never quite know what that is. But this is the point that is made. And Jesus says this in John chapter 16, verse 33. And this is what you hold on to. Jesus says, I have conquered the world. He says this in Luke 16, verse 33. And that is the hope you are given today, and it's been given all your life. It just becomes more important as you grow older and as you see the world as it is. The world is a busy place, and there are lots of things going on. So we can't always know about that. So the Lord is teaching us is to walk with a person who has hope in the future, and that means the resurrection of the dead. And when we have that kind of faith and that kind of intention in our lives, we are able to move through our lives with a sense of peace and sense of direction. The other thing about the world in which we live is that the Lord asks us to continue good works. And I've gone through this with you over and over every time we're together, but when you get up in the morning to say, thank you, Holy Trinity. Number 2 is I commit myself to doing one loving act after another. And this is very different from do something that is nice. What I'm talking about is not nice. It's hard to say it that way. We're not talking about nice here. We're talking about love. Remember the old phrase we learned from our parents years ago? I don't have to like you, but I have to love you. You never got that? I must have been some boy. So one of the chief things that we need to do as Christian Catholic is to follow the Sermon on the Mount. And I'm just going to ask you a little bit about this. The Sermon on the Mount. What comes to your mind when you hear that? What phrase in there? Because we're given direction about how we are to conduct our lives. Can you give me at least one sentence? Pardon? Say it again. Say it. Okay, that's it. That's one of them. That's it. You get your 3 pieces of chocolate later. Just make sure it's good chocolate. So what the Lord is asking us this day too is we're persons who are hope, who know that there are persons who will go around and when they talk about the world, they'll talk about it in a really negative way. And don't get me wrong, there are things that are not great out there. We know that. But it'll never happen, it'll never get better if we just talk about it. Talking about it doesn't inch it forward in a bit. Nothing. But what the Lord points out today is, in order to keep your hope going, is that you have to nurture it. And you nurture it by giving the example of the Sermon on the Mount. And I would encourage you, when you go home tonight, to look that up, and may that be a reading that you pick from time to time. But in there it says, you were hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was naked and you clothed me. And the disciples said, well, who is that? And then he tells them, anyone who does those things is the one who has hope and is close to me. Because then we're behaving as Jesus has behaved. Whenever we do that, we get ourselves into the proper space. So, family, dear family, this is important Sunday, because this is what I call Hope Sunday. We have hope in this Lord, even despite the fact that lots of other things that are not good have not grown, are still going on. How many of you here, like myself, remember saying the prayers for Russia when you were in grade school? Yeah. Lots of us, right? What happened then? They all fell apart. That nation is nothing like it used to be. Now it still has some orneriness attached to it. That's saying it very, very mildly. But this nurturing of our hope is really important. It just doesn't go by itself. And that's why the Sermon on the Mount, together with other passages that are inspiring to you, use all of them to nurture yourself so that the hope that we have goes on. And that hope helps us to deal with each part of life as it comes to us, whether good or struggle. Lastly, Paul tells us, or Christ tells us, that perseverance is important. We know that there are times that are not going to go well. And we stop, take that deep breath, remember what Jesus taught us, and that he's there no matter what. In this particular sentence, I hope you carry it with you the rest of your life. Jesus said, I have conquered the world. There is nothing above Jesus. Nothing. Now, I won't get into a talk with you about the Trinity and all that stuff, but understand that he is the one who is in charge. He was there when the earth was created. This is important. And lastly, as we say that, also may it spur us to do special acts each day so that we also help keep alive the hope of another. Because when we hope, other people have a chance to hope. And we hope because Jesus said, I've conquered the world. Trust it.